If you've ever wanted a build that lets you punch everything in sight while flopping around like a gymnastic fish that somehow got both ice powers and invisibility powers that managed to throw 9 grenades in the past 30 seconds while also stabbing everything despite the fact that you don't have a knife and you're also stunning every champion in sight and even some that you can't see and... Sorry, what was I saying again? Hello again, you Adderall-fueled gremlins. So I heard y'all wanted to make Titans feel jealous about how good you can punch stuff. That I say, I got you. While crayons are not included or required for this build, we're currently playtesting whether or not that's helpful, and if you feel that that will help you, at least in confidence, go for it. This build does use an exotic class item. Do not leave. While it does use an exotic class item, it's not entirely needed. If you don't have access to that exotic class item, you can just use the base version of Liar's Handshake and the build remains largely the same. If you do have exotic class items, the role you're going to want to chase is anything with Spirit of the Liar. Best role is definitely Caliban and Liar, but that's not a role I have, and I did not feel like throwing my face at Dual Destiny for hours to get it just for this video. So I'm using Liar and Hoyle, which is mostly just there for the grenade spam, since our melee and class ability kind of solve each other's regeneration problems. Now that we're done yapping about that, let's open up our subclass and start slotting stuff in. Our aspects can be pretty varied, and there's a fair argument to be made for just about everything, except for Ascension. But what I've gone with is Winter Shroud and Stylish Executioner. Winter Shroud is pretty much a lot, since we're going to be dodging your enemies as a core part of our game plan with Combination Blow. Stylish Executioner not only synergizes with Winter Shroud, since Winter Shroud is enabling it all the time, but it's also a valuable asset since the build is highly mobile and moving around is a lot easier with invisibility. As for why no Gunpowder Gamble, there are a few reasons I would stay away from it. Yes, it's going to be active damn near 24/7, but to be honest, with the Heart of Inmost Light setup, so is our grenade just straight up. But even ignoring that, hucking a grenade that ignites is just not that needed or that good on this setup. We could just huck it at a champion, but you can also just go invis and then punch that champion to death anyway. The Threaded Spectre is just not really as much of a consideration since I don't even really see it even being in the same universe as the other three. For our fragments, we're slotting in protection first since we're going to be surrounded. Let me check my notes here. All the time. Courage, since anything we're punching is either going to be slowed or frozen. Devotion for extra transcendence energy for stuff we're doing anyway. Sacrifice for the exact same reason, and Purpose for extra safety since we're always in slapping distance. For our abilities, we are obviously rocking Combination Blow for the punchy Liar's Handshake build, so grab that. Gambler's Dodge is also mandatory since we need it for Combination Blow stacking. I've opted for Duskfield Grenade since it makes getting the ball rolling on Combination Blow that much easier. And for the super, I opted for Tether since it's really one of the only one-off supers on Prismatic, and keeping the ball rolling is this build's whole thing. It also enables Void Overshields with Facet of Purpose, which is a very, very nice thing to have. For our stats, Rezil is going to get cranked to the max, and while I don't normally advocate for tier 10 or bust, this is a case where I will since you really feel the effect of it. After that, we're going to be popping our Discipline as high as it can go since there's no value in any other stat outside of Recovery, which can sink whatever remaining points you have into. Strength and Mobility are absolutely useless on this build since we're getting those cooldowns back from each other. For our mods, we're running double hands-on in our helmet since basically every kill is going to be a melee kill. I've also slotted in Powerful Friends because I don't like leaving slots empty. In our arms, we're doing double heavy-handed since we're absolutely killing stuff with our melee to warrant it, and that's about it. In the chest, we're rocking a triple resist setup. In our legs, we're going with Innervation since it's the only ammo ability regen we need. Recuperation since we need orbs to fuel Facet of Purpose. And Heavy Ammo Scav because we might shoot our heavy weapon at some point. For our class item, we're rocking Bomber since grenade regen is the only ability regen that actually matters. Powerful Attraction since Facet of Purpose is putting in a lot of work and we don't want to have to go pick up every orb individually. And Special Finisher so that we can continue to pick up orbs even with full super. For our artifact, throwing on Volatile Marksman for increased void weapons shenanigans. Legend Incarnate since I'm using Corrective Measure. feel free to use something else if you don't have that. Column 3, we're rocking Dielectric since we're doing basically all of our killing with arc damage, and Photonic Flare for the exact same reason. Aligned Harvest is going to give us even more Void Weapon shenaniganery, and Flashover is mandatory for Bolt Charge. Lead from Gold is there for the rare times we do care about ammo, though, to be honest, you could probably pick something else. And in column 5, we're going with Heavy Ordnance Generation since we're on a machine gun, and Defib for Bolt Charge off of champions. This build technically works with any weaponry, but in order to get maximum value out of it, you will want a shotgun with the 1-2 punch perk. Any shotgun with 1-2 punch will work, you don't have to be too picky, and if you don't have a 1-2 punch shotgun already, Python from the Monument to Lost Lights in the Tower is a fine option, and you don't even need an exotic cipher for it, you can just go pick it up. The build does require you to use your brain at least a little bit, but the first thing you want to do is stack up Combo Blow to ×3 as soon as possible. Priority number 1 after that point is not dying and not dropping your stacks. This build is do or die. If you drop your stacks, you're basically dead. This does require rigorous checking of your buff list, though even that might not help, because we only have 4 buff slots. If all else fails, just make sure you're consistently killing stuff with Combination Blow. If you haven't stacked to ×3 yet, the combo you want to use is Dodge, then Punch, then Melee ability. Make sure you get Cross Counter on your Melee ability. Cross Counter works with both your Melee ability and your normal uncharged Melee, but Combination Blow only stacks if you actually kill stuff with it. After you stack it to ×3, you should be one-tapping most trash tier enemies if they don't have elemental shields. When you inevitably come up against an enemy that won't get one-tapped by Combo Blow, which is typically a champion or a bigger orange bar, this is where the big damage combo comes in. The combo is Dodge, Combination Blow to activate Cross Counter, Shotgun, and then Melee. If you do this right and you're within a reasonable power level, you will either delete the champion outright, or you leave it low enough to finisher it. Just make sure you stun the champion first so it doesn't regen in the middle of your combo. Duskfield Grenade works for both overloads and unstopped champions, though unstopped champions require a little bit of patience, and after that, you just need an anti-barrier weapon. The most important thing is to never, ever drop stacks of Combination Blow. 20 seconds is a decent amount of time. It is longer than you think in video game world. But dropping stacks in the middle of a fight is basically a death sentence, especially if you're already in slapping distance. That's pretty much it in terms of actually playing the build. It sounds simple enough on paper, but it is harder than you think it is. It's the kind of thing where you just have to play with it a lot in order to get used to it. As for how good this build is, it really depends. This is not a build you can just take anywhere and do well with, since it does require you both in melee and actually getting kills. And for those reasons, it's basically solo only. It's not unusable in a GM setting, but that's like saying I could use double legendary scout rifles in a GM, which is technically true, but you're not gonna have a fun time. When your teammates are indiscriminately obliterating everything, it's hard to stack up Combo Blow when everything you're trying to stack on is dying faster than you can even get to it. However, it absolutely hooks solo content. You do need a little bit of brain power to get your investment rolling, but oh boy does that investment pay off. Especially right now with Bolt Charge being as free as it is, champions kind of just explode when you look at them too hard. While the build is also available on Arc, I see basically no reason to play it on Arc since you lose out on Stylish Executioner and Winter Shroud, which is a big chunk of what's actually keeping you alive. However, the other notable weakness is the build is melee or bust. Can't get into melee, you're not doing shit. I know it sounds like I'm making a case as to why the build isn't very good, but where it is good, it's really good. Alright, I think I'm done flopping around on the floor and punching stuff with reckless abandon for now. Next week, we are back on the Titans, and we're proving that Behemoth better than you think it is. Alright, I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.